Hi, date 1st of July 2024 and timing is this. So, this was the last React session, state management with the context API. In this video, we are going to see ref, escape hatches, and first topic inside that, referencing the values with the refs. So, I'm going in very much detail. Okay. What is this referencing values with the refs? When you want a component to remember some information, but you don't want that information to trigger new renders, you can use ref. Now, by the time you should have start understanding the documentation. Remember, trigger new renders. If you remember, during the state management, whenever state changes, component re-renders itself, right? So let's create a new React project. So here, terminal, desktop, month, and what's the day? 104, mkdir 105, mkdir 10, mkdir day 105, cd day 105, npm use 18. Now can you tell me the command npm
create wait
@latest. Latest. Name of the project reps. It should be in a React, JavaScript, cd reps, npm install. So it will install the required libraries. So what is the ref? Referencing values with the ref. When you want a component to remember some information, but you don't want that information to trigger the new renders, you can use ref. You can use what? Ref. Let us see what do you mean by that thing. I think project have been created. src, main.jsx, index.css. I'm deleting the file itself. App css and this file. Okay, just delete all these things. Main.jsx, index.css. Now see, there is a count, and let's have a button and on click, and here you can say set count plus 1. Okay, and here we can say h1 count, and here I will write console.log re-rendered, and here you can see count. Localhost 52, what's the command? 5173, npm run dev button. Okay, and can you see count is getting increased? Can you see re-rendering is happening, which means that the app function is getting called again and again on changing the state, right? On changing what? State. So this is my channel where 376 videos I have uploaded over here. Angular series is also there, React series is also there. This is the last video on the state management with the context. You may see this. And these are the Angular videos for other batch. You may see that as well if you are interested. Okay. Now, what do they mean by the line when you want component to remember some information, state remembers the information during the re-render. Remembers the information during the re-render, that's the state. But I don't want to remember I want to remember the information, but I don't want to re-render the app. And for that, there is one hook. You can add a ref to your component. You can add what? A ref to your component. Can you see this? So here I will create one more button, and here we can say let ref. This is a bad, remember that, bad approach. You cannot write console.log directly. This is side effect. This is what? Side effect. So how to handle the side effect? We are going to see tomorrow. So const ref is equals to use ref and default value is 0. Use ref, default value is 0. So here on handling the click, we can say ref dot current is equals to ref dot current plus 1. So here OK, using state, and here OK using ref. Refresh it. Look at this. It is re-rendering, right? Okay, we need h1 also. Count state count ref, and here ref dot current, and here what? Ref dot current. Go here, use state. Can you see re-rendered? State is re-rendering the component. Okay, ref. Oh, okay. Let's write brackets over here. Yeah, can you see? One thing is for sure, it is not re-rendering. Right. Now, that's why they have shown alert over here. If you see, just try to understand. Ref is a container. Inside that value is there is a current value. The value you passed by the user. If you can access the current value through ref.current property, this is intentionally mutable, meaning you can both read and write to it. It is like the secret pocket of your component that React doesn't track, right? This is what makes it escape hatch from the React's one-way data flow. React doesn't track this thing, and that's why here if you see, component is not re-rendering. Here it is re-rendering, and if you just update it and re-render it, then you will see the value is getting updated, right? Here you will not see the effect of re-rendering, sorry, effect of counter being incremented, for the reason you are not re-rendering the component, but internally value is getting re-rendered, value is getting updated, right? So here you can access the current value of the ref through ref.current property. This value is intentionally mutable, meaning you can both read and write to it. It is like a secret pocket of your component that React doesn't track. React doesn't check this guy. That's what makes it an escape hatch from the React's one-way data flow, right? The refs point to a number, but like state, you could point to anything string object. Presently, this is a number. This is a number, but this can be an object also. This can be string also. This can be boolean also, anything. That's what they are saying over here. That's what they are saying over here. Use the ref points to a number right now, but like the state, you could point to anything, a string, an object, even a function. Even a function. Even a function. Unlike the state, see now, ref is a plain JavaScript object. Ref is a plain JavaScript object with the current property that you can read and modify. Note that component doesn't re-render with every increment. Component doesn't re-render with every increment. Like the state, refs retained by the React between the re-renders. However, setting the state re-renders a component, changing the ref does not. That's what we have seen. If you change the state, React re-renders and new value gets updated. And new value gets updated. But if you change the reference, React doesn't re-renders, but value is getting updated. But what? Value is getting updated, right? You can combine the refs and state in a single component. Let's make a stopwatch that can use and start and stop pressing button. In order to display how much time has been elapsed to use the start, you will need to keep the track of where the start button was pressed. So they have given one example. You may check it. You may check it. Why there is no stop button, I don't know. When the stop button is pressed, you need to cancel. Yeah, see here. So they have given another example. So let's see the difference between the ref and the state. The example you may try on your own. We have taken another example. Okay, difference between the ref and state. Perhaps you are thinking the refs seem less strict than the state. You can mutate them instead of always having to use state setting function. But most of the cases, you will want to use the state. Refs are the escape hatch. Escape hatch means what? React doesn't check that value at the time of re-render. You don't need it often. Here are some difference between the refs. useRef returns the current and object of current with the initial value. The use state with the initial value returns an array, a state value, and method or a handle to update the state. Doesn't trigger a re-render when you change it, triggers the re-render when you change it. Mutable, you can modify and update the current value outside the rendering process. Immutable, you can use the state setting function to modify the state variables to queue a re-render. You shouldn't read or write the current value during the re-rendering. You can read the state at any time. However, each render has its own snapshot of the state which does not change. Right? Okay. Now this is the thing, they whatever we have done, it is not changing the number, but internally count is getting refreshed. Now when to use the refs? Typically, you will use a ref when your component needs to step outside the React and communicate with the external APIs. Often a browser API that won't impact the appearance of the component. Right here are few of these rare situations: storing the timeout IDs, storing the manipulating DOM elements, which we cover in the next page, storing what we can say other objects that aren't necessary to calculate the JSX. So when to use the ref? If you want to do something outside of the React, if you want to perform something which is outside of the React, you need the ref. Or if you want to do the DOM manipulation, we'll see tomorrow that part. Okay. So storing the timeout IDs, you don't need it many times. Storing and manipulating the DOM elements, you don't need it. Storing the other objects that aren't necessary to calculate the JSX. If your component needs to store some value, but it doesn't impact on the rendering logic, choose the ref. Now, best practices for the ref. Treat the refs as an escape hatch. Don't read or write ref.current during the rendering. So refs are useful when you work with the external systems or the browser APIs. If much of your work and logic and the data flows relies on the ref, you might need to rethink your approach. Ref.current, do not read or write ref.current during the rendering. If some information is needed during the rendering, use the state. Since React doesn't know when ref current, because here you see React doesn't know that ref value has been changed until you re-render the component. React doesn't know this part. And that's why you shouldn't use the ref which is impacting your rendering. Even reading while rendering makes your component behavior difficult to predict. Okay. So limitations of the React state don't apply to the ref. Limitations of the React state don't apply to the ref. For example, like a snapshot for every render and doesn't update synchronously. But when you mutate the current value of the ref, it changes immediately. But when you mutate the current value of the ref, it changes immediately. It doesn't store any snapshot of the state the way state stores. This is because ref itself is a regular JavaScript object, and so it behaves like same. You also don't need to worry about avoiding mutation when you work with the ref, as long as the object you are mutating isn't used for the rendering. React doesn't care what do you do with the ref or its content, right? What do you do with the refs or the content? So ref is nothing but the plain JavaScript object. You cannot expect much from the React. You cannot expect much from the ref. Ref is not going to re-render your component. So you should think before you use the ref. Now why I have covered? You should know the thing. You should know the thing of the ref. Okay. So it is see, all these things are the escape hatches. Out of the React, you are doing something. The refs and the DOM, you can point to the ref to any value. Tomorrow we will see that. However, the most common use case for the ref is for the DOM, direct DOM manipulation. The way we have done previously, if you want to do directly DOM manipulation, refs are useful. That we will see tomorrow. For example, this is a handy if you want to focus input program. If you want to focus an input programmatically, when you pass a ref to a ref attribute in a JSX, something like this, React will put the corresponding DOM element into the ref.current. Once element is removed from the DOM, React will assign current to the null. We are going to see this topic tomorrow. How exactly you will do DOM manipulation? DOM manipulation means what? Handling the DOM objects on your own. Generally, React handles it, but handling the DOM objects on your own, that part we will see tomorrow. Well, this is about the refs. What do you mean by ref? We have seen with the demo. And tomorrow we will see the DOM manipulation. Let me push the code. React ref and useRef. So what is this exactly? What do you mean by DOM? So how do you do the DOM manipulation? That part we will see tomorrow. If you have any question, you can go ahead and ask me.
No, sir.
Anyone other? Anyone else is having any query?
No, sir.
Fine then. We'll meet tomorrow with the new topic. Okay?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.